Sacral Chakra today.
Yep.
The orange chakra.
Mm-hmm.
And you probably won't hear this song in any other church. Just saying.
We might have to stop using the word church because
whatever this is. Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Baby, I'm hot just like an oven, and I need some loving. And baby, I can't hold it much longer. It's getting stronger and stronger. When I get that feeling, I want sexual healing, sexual healing. Oh, baby, makes me feel so fine. Helps to relieve my mind. Sexual healing, baby, it's good for me. Sexual healing is something that is good for me. Whenever Blu-ray drops are falling and my emotional stability is leaving me, there's something I can do. I can get on the telephone and call you a baby. Honey, I know you'll be there to heal me. The love you give to me will free me. And if you don't know the things you're feeling, oh, I can tell you, darling, that's sexual healing. Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Let's make love tonight. Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. 'Cause you do it right. When I get that feeling, I want sexual healing. Sexual healing, baby. It's good for me. Ooh, baby. Makes me feel so fine. Helps to relieve my mind. Sexual healing, baby, is good for me. Sexual healing is something that is good for me. Whenever blue teardrops are falling and my emotional stability is leaving me, oh, there's something I can do. I can get on the phone and call you a baby. Honey, I know you'll be there to heal me. The love that you give to me will free me. You don't know the things you're feeling. Oh, I can tell you, darling, it's sexual healing. Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Ooh, wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Ooh, babe, it's something that is good for me.
yeah. Yeah. Kathy Richardson.
Woo-hoo!
Bringing us to church.
Good morning.
Good morning. So welcome. Yeah, we're on the Sacral Chakra, and it's about relationships. It's about mergers, creativity. The last time I did a talk on the Sacral Chakra, and I brought oranges to church with me that day, and I was slicing the oranges, and I was squeezing the oranges. The Sacral Chakra is about the color orange. And I was giving this orange juice demonstration to sort of give an example of what happens when you squeeze someone. When you squeeze oranges, orange juice comes out. And when we get squeezed or in a tight spot, like, do you laugh or do you cry or do you get angry? If you put a person in an uncomfortable position, they'll show you who they are on the inside. I didn't bring any oranges with me today, but I did want to invite you to think about, Ruth Bader Ginsburg. She gave us, again, a beautiful example of what can happen and what's possible when we face adversity. So last week we covered the root chakra, which is about the form, the earth, that which is solid. And now we're moving into the sacral chakra, which is fluidity. The element of the sacral chakra is water, and the way that we mix and we merge and we connect and we create with each other. And it's also about pleasure. It's where we focus on our personal pleasure. So the statement for the sacral chakra is I want, which is an interesting concept because I often hear myself saying, you know, I shall not want, like I don't need to want, that everything is given to me. But there is a really beautiful and holy way to use that element of wanting. The root chakra was about I have, and I asked you to look at what you have and what's stable in your life, and think of yourself in the center of a circle and fill that circle with everything that you know that you have, and that's your foundation. The sacral chakra invites us to drift past the circumference of that circle of what we have to what has not yet reached form, what is still just a desire. Some say that needs are necessities and desires are accessories, which can make us feel that desires are frivolous. But desires are also necessities in that they help us to expand and grow and reach and stretch and evolve. So accessories, if you think about like an outfit or a room, the accessories are actually the details. And we know God is in the details. And in fact, the word desire means of the Father. So having healthy and holy desires are really great. So it'd be a good time right now to think about your own desires. Write them out, get some clarity around them. I desire to own an off-the-grid van and travel the world and the country with my friends. I came up with that desire this morning when Carol and Dave told me that they wanted to do that. And I'm like, I want to go with you. That's a desire. But don't limit your desires to the form, because that, what I just said, is just a form. So ask what's under the form. What would be under the form for that with me is that I desire freedom. I want to see and appreciate my world. I want to share teachings and I want to share them in nature. I want to do retreats. All of these things bring me great joy. So I desire to do more of them. So your desire might be you want to create a world that works for everyone, or you want to be in harmony in all of your relationships, or you want to share your music with the world. You want your work to feel like play. I know that's Beth Gordon's desire. She wants her work to feel like play, and that's a really great desire to have. These are worthwhile and worthy wants. So this week I want to invite you to make a list of the things that you want in life and ask yourself, is this really a want, or is this actually a need? Is this something that's a non-negotiable for me? We might say, you know, I want peace in all of my relationships. And then instead of moving into that desire, we go about accepting quietly toxic situations. And we find ourselves saying like, well, I guess, you know, I want that, but I guess this is what I get. And this is normal. And I guess, you know, this is as good as it gets. So this is where you're being asked to stretch past your comfort zone and stretch past the known and move into the mystery. This is where you're invited to say, no, you know, this desire came to you. You want your relationships to be in harmony. That's a good desire. And you're the one who heard it, and now you get to honor that desire. So how do we honor the desire? We look to see what's blocking it. You know, where do I have blocks to harmonious relationships? And we look to see where we might have gone to sleep and just accepted the unacceptable. So if this desire is of the Father, then you could consider yourself the mother, the midwife, the caretaker of this desire. And you must take responsibility for protecting and speaking up for this desire. Even if it feels hokey, even if it feels like people are going to not take it seriously. I've always had a very deep desire to work in joyful collaborations. That has been a desire for me. I have, for the most part, allowed that to be my truth. But if it has meant that, you know, when things get complicated or toxic or stagnant, I don't remain quiet. You know, I speak up and I get clear boundaries. And I do this not just for my own peace, but for my greater possibility and for the greater possibility of everyone that I work for. So the desire for peaceful relationships might have started for me as just a desire, but now it's a non-negotiable. I would sooner wash my hands of something like that than to hold on to something that's not working for me. And it allows me to not have a wishy-washy, watered down, people-pleasing, you know, life. It lets me leave that by the wayside. So I want you to find your desires. And to find your desires, you might want to look at what you're passionate about. Passion does not always make sense. And there's many borderline bullies that will ensure you that your desires and your passions are unreachable, unattainable, and unnecessary. So let yourself reach anyhow. Let yourself reach into the mystery. The second chakra is all about creating and creativity, putting yourself out there. So you might want to ask, like, where am I afraid to rock the boat? You know, where am I going along to get along? Where am I afraid to be seen and heard and healed and holy? What's restricting me? And how am I restricting myself? What's preventing me from expressing myself, my truth, my creativity? And why am I not allowing myself to feel pleasure? Trusting, you know, that God is actually invested in your pleasure. In fact, lesson 101 of A Course in Miracles says, God's will for me is perfect happiness. That's why I love that book. This is God's will for me to be perfectly happy. You know, and I don't always know what makes me perfectly happy. So I'm really glad that I have this internal compass that I get to go to and say, you know, where would you have me go? What would you have me do? What would you have me say in order to bring about this perfect happiness that I am heir to? And usually it has me do just the next right thing, just the next right thing. And then God shows up to delight me. This past week when Ruth Bader Ginsburg transitioned on Rosh Hashanah, the Jewish New Year's, this brought a great deal of unrest, you know, to a lot of people, because this year has been already ridiculously capsized. You know, we will all remember 2020 as the year that made us really look at what was happening in the world and perhaps gave us the opportunity to, as they say, 2020 vision, to have a greater vision about who we're here to be. Things got real clear and things continue to get real clear. You know, we had the pandemic and the protests and the fires, the earthquakes, and the world can feel very heavy and dark. But this is when you get to experience your own brilliance, to get convicted in your own brilliance, to allow yourself to be a part of the movement of love. The second chakra is all about movement. Are we okay with shifts and changes? Do we allow ourselves to get hung up, or do we allow ourselves to go with the flow? Do we get pulled into the negativity of the undertow, or do we allow ourselves to get swept up in a holy idea of ourselves, a greater potential? To be a good improvisational partner with the world, we need to stay open to obstacles and opportunities, to stay open to them, not to see them coming and begin to get defensive and plan to deflect or protect, but to just stay open and to stay curious and to allow ourselves to not go with that first voice that speaks first and loudest. The first voice that speaks first and loudest is the ego. The ego says, oh, you know, oh no. I mean, I know when everyone heard the news about Ruth, it was like, oh no, oh no, oh no. And that adds to the conscious stew of fear. And so we get to say what Spirit would have us say. Okay. It says, let's go, let's grow, let's flow with this thing. Ruth Bader Ginsburg knew how to face adversity with intelligence and fearless grace, not with the willy-nilly flippy-floppy energy of fear. So when faced with obstacles, how can I flow through this without losing my peace and instead activating my intelligence, my grace, and not my fear? So we want to shoot for relationships and collaborations that feel loving, that feel kind, that feel healthy, that feel transparent. And this is not always the case, because sometimes in our relationships, the other will come to us with their hair on fire and, you know, flailing in rage, you know, especially when we have so many opportunities today to fly off in rage and in fear. So what we can do when that happens is we can allow ourselves to not stand in that fire. You can take care of your own peace by saying, and I guess that I get that you're flipping out and that you're triggered right now, but let's talk about this when you are able to speak civilly with me. That's not a request. You know, that's a deal breaker. You get to teach other people how to treat you. And peace is the only way that conscious conversations can be experienced. Otherwise, we're just flinging swords. And that doesn't work. So the healthiest, the holiest collaborations and mergers are when neither party has anything to lose and nothing to gain. Does that sound ridiculous? But instead, the holiest collaborations come when both parties choose to create from a sense of joy. When two people come together to create from a sense of joy, that, my friends, is holy soil. It means living in love. That's what it feels like when you come to a collaboration without a wanting, a getting, a fixing, a changing, and needing to, be right. But instead, when you come from a place of joy. So A Course in Miracles tells us that love is incapable of asking for anything. So if you want to live in love, you get to live from a stance of knowing you already have everything. Do you know how empowering that is? I know you might not always feel that way, but if you allowed yourself to feel that way, if you allowed yourself to say, I have everything I need to be in absolute peace and empowered right now. Love is incapable of asking for anything. It has no needs and wants to join with others out of their mutual awareness of abundance. Most wars are based on the illusion of scarcity. And as long as we're going to propagate this idea of scarcity, we're going to want to fight each other for the little that there is. All of this is not working. I think you've probably already have assessed this. So, but the opposite can be quite beautiful. I mean, do you see how beautiful that type of holy collaboration would be? Do you have any places in your life where it might already feel like this, like a fun ping pong game where it's really easy and you feel excited about showing up and just playing? And where you're excited about collaborating and planning and co-creating? So this might be a good time to talk about sex because the sacral chakra is all about sex. There's enough clues for you about that with Kathy singing that song and the idea that the sacral chakra is about passion and pleasure. It's situated right above our sexual organs. It's the center of creativity. It establishes how we connect with others. We can have collision, we can have collaboration, or we can have compassion. So compassion is when collision is when we both are against each other. Compassion is when somebody is not what we think they are and not doing what we think they want, and still we have compassion. And collaboration is when we both come, like to complete each other. What a holy endeavor. So this is the same with sex. It's a sacred right. It's a holy opportunity for us to collaborate, to create, to be intimate. Intimacy is into me, I see. In the act of lovemaking, we see how we're better together. And the rule of lovemaking is the same as it is everywhere else. As I give, I do receive. So how do I show up to that classroom? If I want to have a happy, healthy experience, do I come from owning my own happy and holy self? It's a bit odd to talk about sex at church, but it's also that very resistance that prevents us from having these conversations that make it seem like this conversation is, something not to speak about. The things that we keep in the shadows are the things that cause us problems. So we want to look at, and here at Speakeasy, we traverse tough and tender topics. So this is one that most people don't really feel comfortable talking about all the time. Nevertheless, it's holy. There's nothing bad or shameful about sex. When it's consensual, it's absolutely beautiful. But things can get very sideways in the conversation and the experience of sex. People have been sexually violated. I mean, we saw this whole unmasking when we had the #MeToo movement, where it seemed like there was no place that this was not an experience for most people. Sex can get confused with power. Religion and societies can inflict weird rules that can be shaming. We may have broken definitions of the words that we use around sex. We might equate sex with bad words. All of our bad words that I talked to Shannon beforehand because there was a child listening and I said, I might use some bad words today. Most of them have to do with that are sexually related or sexual body parts. Like that, here we go. So cover your ears if you don't want to hear bad words. That guy was such a dick. That woman's a boob. He's so cocky. He's such a pussy. This whole thing is fucked. Okay, that's wrong. There's more. I could go on. But don't you think it's kind of odd that our most beautiful body parts are connected and our sexuality are connected with the words that we use to demean each other? Don't you think that's a bit odd that these are bad words? I don't believe in bad words or bad people or bad things. So we have a tarnished vocabulary for a very beautiful activity. And it would be weird if we didn't experience guilt and low self-esteem. You know, this is a tender territory, and it's hard to not get sideways with it, with so many blind spots and mixed messaging. So we need to have a greater degree of consciousness. Sex, romantic relationships, they're just another way of merging with each other. Think of when you merge on the freeway. When you merge on the freeway, what do? You slow down. You're more cautious. You're more careful. You pay attention. The places where we slow down in life are the places where we say, hold up, let's stop with the ordinary moving along and let's move into the extraordinary, because something very beautiful is happening here and I want to be present for it. Remember, when you merge, when you collaborate with another, they're going to see things differently than you. So you want to be open to the mystery of creating, which means you have to let go of what you know. In order to grow, you have to let go of all that you are and all that you know. The sacral chakra is about appreciating the differences, allowing yourself to learn something new, have a new experience with each other, creatively, sexually, and most of all, respectfully. Where you're actually saying, like, I know you bring something different to the table, and I'm curious about that. Because sex, merging, collaborations, relationships can feel very vulnerable. And we want to be careful to stay open-minded and be aware of our passion and our positionality. Positionality is not holy. You know, positionality is when we come from our position and we say, you know, he needs to be like this, or she needs to be like that, or this needs to go this way, or else I'm out. So could we come from maybe seeing a person as not a list of statistics? Could we come from a place where we don't pixelate people? Could we be willing to see people as holy and see the whole version of them, a vision of them that's more healed? And when we don't get our way and we feel uncomfortable, we start to make things up and sum things up. And we start to future trip, like this person's always going to be like this, and forget about it. I'm throwing the baby out with the bathwater. Instead, could we stop looking for answers in the world and changing the chairs on the Titanic and begin to go within and say, why do I continue to project this type of person? Can I change the way I see things? Can I allow this to be healed? You know, allow ourselves to get swept up in the possibility as opposed to the positionality, or the doom or the gloom or the doubt of a good outcome. And that's where we vacillate. You know, we sway between accepting and anger, and scarcity and fantasy, and empowerment and powerlessness. And we roll between the feelings of surrender and then a call to action. And this chakra is about finding our footing in the motion of it all. So when things are in motion, I think about what my dad would say. My dad would say, take it easy, you know? Take it easy means to slow down. Some of the questions around the sacral chakra are, how authentic are my connections with others? Do I allow myself to be present? Am I comfortable in my own skin? Do I know what brings me pleasure? Do I honor myself as a sexual being? How much guilt do I carry? Do I show up in integrity and transparency? Now, we struggle with the question often. I hear a lot of people come to me like, I don't know how to be in this relationship. I don't know how I'm supposed to be. I don't know why they're not this way. And the answer is the same here as it is everywhere. The answer hasn't changed. The answer is, do what love would have you do, with yourself included. It's a very simple answer. It's basically a cure-all. And the other answer is like, to stay detached in the moment, to stay curious in the moment. Row, row, row your boat gently down the stream. Merrily, 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 life is but a dream. So trust that, trust that this is kind of a game. The steps that you can take in navigating your rougher relationships are to be still and do just the next right thing. So take it easy. Check in and do just the next right thing. Try to not to make stuff up, just allow yourself to move on, to not hold on, but to move on, to assume only love. Let yourself grow in your relationships. Let your relationships change and groom you and grow you. Let yourself be open to change. Benjamin Franklin says, when you're finished changing, you're finished. So don't be finished. Stay in the mystery. Go with the flow. And that's the word. Did I say enough bad words?
Yeah, I have the whole thing going through the PA in the house. It got real quiet upstairs.
Carol Ham told me
that's one way to get him to listen.
There you go. Carol Ham told me I forgot one. She said I forgot dumbass.
Oh, believe me, they've heard all the words over here. No problem. All right. This is one of the best songs about creating that we have, I think. Trying to get fancy. Imagine there's no heaven. It's easy if you try. No hell below us, below us, above us only sky. Imagine all the people living for today. Imagine there's no countries. It isn't hard to do. Nothing to kill or die for. No religion too. Imagine all the people living life in peace. You may say I'm a dreamer, but I'm not the only one. I hope someday you will join us, and the world will be as one. Imagine no possessions. I wonder if you can. No need for greed or hunger. A brotherhood of man. Imagine all the people sharing all the world. You may say I'm a dreamer, but I'm not the only one. I hope someday you will join us, and the world will live as one.
Beautiful. What made you want to sing that song?
Yeah. You have such a Hollywood thing going today. I don't know where you've got your like wind machine, your hair is blowing, your fabulous prescription sunglasses. Like, I just want to get in your convertible and drive off a cliff with you.
Oh yes, let's do it. Thelma and Louise all the way. Yes, I'm yes to that. That would be the sweetest way to transition.
Why not?
I'm sorry. I hope your kids are not hearing this. Cover all the territories. Well, we have Mari up, who's going to tell us a little bit about all the fabulous events that we have coming up at Speakeasy. And Kathy Richardson has 2 events at City Winery, the 25th and 6th.
Yeah. Saturday sold out. At last I looked, there was 4 tickets left for Friday, so gobble those up if you haven't.
Oh, good. Okay. So that's Saturday is left?
No, Friday.
Friday's left. Okay. All right. Cool. All right. Awesome. I'll be there.
Okay. Yay.
So Mari, did you have some announcements for us?
I do. Today we have at 3:00 Central Time, Enneagram. It is on the first and third Sunday of the month, so you can jump in and learn more about that. I do suggest for everyone who's interested and for those who were there in the previous week, if you can sign up, that will be great. That way we can send you slides and information from the previous class. Also tonight at 8:18 p.m. and every night for the month of September and October, we have Maiden Voyage Prayer Share. And it is a great way to connect with your Divine Mother and just go into meditation. You know, days get so busy that sometimes we forget to just take a time and ground and just connect with our divine. And this is the perfect way to do it. It is on Zoom. Sign up and you can just drop in either every night or those nights that you can do it. So that's 8:18 every night during September and October. Now that we are also during our chakra series, we have a couple of classes that will support that for you. The first one is on Wednesdays at 7:30 a.m. To 8 a.m. So it's only half hour in the mornings, Central Time. We have a Root to Rise Sunrise Chakra Yoga, and that is with Regina Vertical. It will support each chakra that we're going through. So for this week, it will support the Sacral Chakra, and it was super easy. So if you've never done yoga, join. It was super easy. It was so peaceful. I did it last week, and it was a fantastic way to start the morning. Also on Fridays, also supporting the chakra series at 5 p.m., we have Art Meets Soul with Maureen Claffey. And that one is on week 3, but it goes through the spiritual journey and art, and it just merges together, just dances together. So we invite you to join. We have ongoing events like AA and ACIM on Wednesdays at noon. We also have the ACIM text study group at 8 p.m. on Wednesdays, and ongoing culture club on Sundays, the 2nd and 4th. So stay tuned, sign up with us, and you'll get all the emails and sign-ups, and that's that.
Thanks, Mari. So Joni's popping those links up on the side if you want to sign up for any of them. And for sure, if you want to donate to our community, it helps us to be able to continue to support conversations like this. The things that Mari mentioned, like 85% of them are free. So the yoga is free. The meditation nightly is free. The Enneagram is free. The 12-step, of course, is free. So these are just events that we're helping to host, and it's not always free to run them. So if you are all about supporting this type of creative collaborations, thank you for hitting that link and drop in some love in the form of money.
Well, I'm running down the road trying to loosen my load. I got 7 women on my mind. 4 that wanna own me, 2 that wanna stole me once, and she's a friend of mine. Take it easy, take it easy. Don't let the sound of your own wheels drive you crazy. Lighten up while you still can. Don't even try to understand. Just find a place to make your stand and take it easy. And I'm standing on a corner in Winslow, Arizona, such a fine sight to see. It's a girl, my lord, in a flatbed Ford, slowing down to take a look at me. Come on, baby, don't say maybe. I gotta know if your sweet love is gonna save me. We may lose and we may win, though we may never be here again. open up, I'm climbing, so take it easy. Guitar solo. Trying to loosen my load, got a world of trouble on my mind. Looking for a lover who won't blow my cover, so hard to find. Take it easy, take it easy. Don't let the sound of your own wheels drive you crazy. Come on, baby, don't say maybe. I gotta know if your sweet love is gonna save me. Ooh, 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 we got it easy. We ought to take it easy.
What comes to me is what a wonderful example Speakeasy is on doing things with partners. I know you always, in fact, today is the Enneagram class with me, and you encouraged me to invite Moria to help me, and she is wonderful. We've had great discussion. She's given me great material, and I'm really looking forward to it. So I wasn't even planning when I started talking on plugging my 3 o'clock class, but it sort of came out because you really do encourage us to do that. And I appreciate it. And I love I love being on the receiving end of people who are partnering. So I like to be on the giving end, but I like to also be on the receiving end. And you're right, sometimes it doesn't always work out, but it's a growth opportunity when it's not working, but worth it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, so that is a really important thing, I think, is to help people to figure out how to have wingmen. You know, we have a society of lone wolves where it's like, I just want to get there. I want to get there first. I don't want to have to deal with anyone else's BS on the way. So I'm just going to do it my own way. I'm going to tie all the shoes, make all the beds, and be a control freak. So we do try and invite in like the reciprocity of giving and receiving and giving and receiving. And it also helps with the hierarchy of you're the teacher, I'm the student. It kind of helps us to all come and from a place of student and teacher, always being open to learning. And I think we've had a lot of opportunities where one person was in charge and they don't have a wingman. And if they don't show up, it doesn't get done, So it's just not helpful. It's not a helpful structure for community. And I don't think it's a helpful structure anywhere. I think like having partnership and learning how to have cool partnerships is like, man, it just makes your life better, especially in sex.